YouTube? What the crap's going on? HeirofCarthage here, back in Total War Warhammer 2, and I've got another replay that was sent to me. This one from Shetland Apache, who is another longtime member of the Total War community. Great player, and he sent me a replay from a game in the Warbands League, which I guess is a tournament league with which he's involved in. This is pretty hilarious. I don't know all the rules around the tournament, but I'm going to read what he gave me before we start this up, because I feel like that you all need to hear what he wrote. It's hilarious. He says, this is a pretty crazy game from the Warbands League, where you start with the 5k army, which, by the way, is less than half of the funds for a normal large funds battle. So this is going to be interesting in and of itself, because we're talking about a relatively small funds starting. It says, where you start with a 5k army, and you add to it each round. That's a cool idea. I might have to play like that sometime. He says Pippington's lizards, the crocodile hunters, led by KROKATOA, the mountain that swims against the knights of the irresistible kangaroo, led by the one, the only knight of your hearts, former prime minister, unthanked savior of Her Majesty's kingdom, Sir Digby Chicken Caesar, as he rides to liberate the lizard people and show them the glories of peasantry in service of Her Majesty. A group of crocodiles joins the Skinks, who are there to rebuff him and keep oppressing the lizards, who so desire to become Our Lady's New World workforce. Is that not like the best intro you've ever heard to a battle? I'll tell you what, man, that's a story I would read right there, Shetland Apache. So you put that one into print or on an ebook, and I'm down. It sounds really good. Here's the armies for Sir Digby and KROKATOA and Pippington over here. I love the names. Just makes it that much more fun. Oh man, good times. Sir Digby, of course, is a Bretonnian lord on a hippogriff mount. He has some mounted yeoman archers, a bunch of peasants, a couple of spearmen at arms, and then there's going to be 4 knights errant. So the Bretonnians do have these relatively cheap knights in these low funds fights that can be fairly effective. They're fairly well armored, they've got a decent shield. Really, they pack a punch on the charge and then are just kind of pretty meh after that, right? They pack a solid punch on the charge, and then you got to cycle them pretty quickly. Let's go take a look at KROKATOA and his crocodile army here, and Skinks. Obviously, these Skinks definitely wanting to keep the current caste system in the lizard army going, where the Skinks and the Crocs rule over the Saurians, apparently. So we've got a couple chameleon Skinks up front. There are some Cold One riders. These are cool units, I think, too, for a lower funds type matchup, because you get a relatively affordable armor-piercing damage here with a decent charge bonus, and slightly better melee stats than the Bretonnian counterparts. We're gonna have some Skink cohorts too. Skink cohorts in a low funds are a great unit. They're affordable, they do decent, and you get a lot of them. Now we got the Croxigors, Sacred Croxigors in this case. These guys are gonna pack a wallop at these low funds, and I mean a wallop. They're gonna be a tough unit indeed. They are supported by a Skink Priest, Lore of Beast, with, of course, you guessed it, the transformation of Kaida, because why not? We do have a Croxigor Ancient. This must be KROKATOA here. I wonder if he's a golfer, like Nakai. They all seem like they'd be into golf. Gator golf, in fact. This map has a whole bunch of terrain. In fact, I'm gonna zoom up here and kind of show you. I mean, there's a bunch of choke points. Like, we got a floating pyramid over here just for fun, by the way. You got choke points here, here, here. There's a giant hill right here and here. I mean, there's a lot of terrain to be dealt with on this map. It's actually a really cool looking map. Not one you see in multiplayer a whole lot, but a really fun map. Lots of terrain, lots of possibilities in terms of how the players can try and position. I would think that, I mean, you can see kind of the 2 separate strategies here. One player is keeping their army all lumped together. The other one's spread out over a lot of places, trying to control, like, key elements. The risk you take when you spread out, obviously, is that you could get overwhelmed in any one given place. If you stick together, you might be overwhelmed, you know, by magic or something. Though I don't think Bretonnia has access to magic here, do they? Do they? Yeah, okay, they do. I was going to say, surely not. They do, but all they've got is Earthblood, so they don't have to worry about getting hit by, say, some kind of vortex that just rips up a ton of their troops all at once. So see, like these peasants, I mean, they're throwaway units anyway, but they got thrown away into here. They got thrown away. Looks like the Bretonnians, these troops are probably hit. Yeah, they're hidden. So I would think up here on this hill that the lizards don't have visibility on them. So it may want to be, you know, I mean, the lizards right now are kind of acting like they are going to come up this way You could get some nice downhill charges. I don't know, has anybody tested this recently? Maybe I need to go test it, but do you get a big terrain advantage in Warhammer 2? I don't feel like you do. In past Total Wars, going up a hill was just like almost suicidal, and I don't feel like the same thing tends to be true. And if it isn't, like, it kind of feels like it should be in some ways. Like, maybe you don't make it as pronounced as, like, you know, historical Total Wars where you don't have big monsters and magic, but I feel like terrain in this game just doesn't play near as much of a role as it does in other Total Wars. Like, especially go take a look at something like Troy right now, where terrain plays a massive role in the movement speeds and bonuses and stuff. But in past Total Wars, like, I mean, you could stick a pikeman on top of a hill, and I mean, they would just mulch people into infinity. You know what I mean? Like, they would never die, like in those types of positions. Anyway, I'm gonna fast forward for a second because we're just seeing the Lizardmen army reposition here. Let's kind of see what happens. These small funds matchups, again, remember, very different than anything else. But yeah, here comes a nice downhill charge. Oh boy, got some distance on that skink launch right there. That's a nice use of Knights Errant. They got a lot of damage done. They're gonna have to run away now. They're being poisoned, and the Lizardmen are fairly quick here. There was only the one unit left over here, though, to give them a bit of a charge. But I mean, of course, you can only do so much charging. If those Sacred Kroxigors get a hold of you, you're going to be in bad shape. Patient use of the Mounted Yeomen here. This is smart. Any damage they can get done patiently, use all their ammunition, that's going to really favor. I mean, the Bretonnians have some very weak troops here. Very weak. Their Lord is really the only damage output that, like, consistent melee damage output that can be done. Their Knights can do charge damage, but they're going to have to be maintained pretty meticulously, I feel like, in order to succeed. Oh, boy, yeah, these Yeoman Archers need to run, run, run. There they go. Yeah, they will get shredded by Chameleon Skinks. They will get absolutely shredded by the Chameleon Skinks. Yeah, there's another Knights Errant coming in to help protect here. So the Lizard's moving to the high ground here, maybe hoping to pull Bretonnia's armies back together and into a conflict. I mean, if I were the Lizardmen, I would want that conflict right now. I would feel pretty confident. Short of how to deal with Sir Digby, I think KROKATOA is in pretty good position, and he's got nice support. Digby is going to have to really watch out for these Cold One Riders and the Ancient Crocs. None of them have an anti-large bonus specifically, but you've also got the summon. And so that's going to be dangerous. Another peasant unit being thrown in just to, I guess, busy the Lizards here and maybe provide an opportunity. We got Sir Digby, Chicken Caesar here, diving in. He's going to go for these Cold Ones. Boy, that is a risky move, it feels like. But he's got Knights coming up to support, so maybe that's the objective, is get up here, take a little damage, give a little damage, maybe try and get back in the air and give your Knights the window to get in here. I don't know, we'll see. There's another Cold One Rider. Oh boy, yeah, things about to get rough for the Bretonnian Lord, I think. I don't know how he gets out of this. He is, ooh, boy, yeah, he's in a bad place in life. And again, there's no Vortex spell here for the Bretonnians, but, I mean, you do have Knights now. They're going to have a couple of good angles to charge from, but, like, this Knight is now trapped. It can get out, but it's going to take some damage. We got a summon coming up here. That's going to be our transformation. I don't think there's any other summon available. Yep. Here comes another nice Knights Errant charge. Good call there. Yeah, Digby is getting absolutely owned over here. And now with the summon, this is about to get a lot more dangerous, I think. Oof, Manticore just barely missed his charge. Oh, he's going to get back up in the air. He's getting an Earthblood right now. Remember, regrowth not an option at the moment. That Mounted Yeoman got killed in here as well. Bretonnia taking some pretty significant losses here. Let's kind of see how this plays out. Terrified of Knights Errant, but it's going to get away. This Knights Errant still alive. A Spearman of Arms used as a blocker. Now, this is going to be a pretty good trade. If they can just stay in this fight for a little while, these Spearmen at Arms ought to cause some damage to the Cold One Riders. But, I mean, oh yeah, they got pummeled. There was too much for them to really hold their ground there. And now if the Lizards do a good job of mopping this unit up before it can regroup, that'll end up being a pretty good play for them. We've got the Chameleon Skinks over here skirmishing. Let's kind of see here. Yeah, the Manticore is about to be out because it's gonna fade. Nice use here though. Just getting a little damage done before it dies. This is good. You gotta get all you can out of your summon. That's a good play there, I think, by KROKATOA's Manticore. I love these names, by the way. I'm totally sold on the naming that was chosen for this. I'm so glad you included that, Shetland. Thank you for sending this, by the way, and for including the little description. It actually kind of made my day stream really hilarious. So appreciate you sending it. Let's see here. Yeah, I mean, it's nice play by the Chameleon Skinks. This is a really nice lizard army for this, in my opinion. I think this lizard army is pretty well put together. Let's see how it holds up, though. I mean, the Bretonnian is definitely not out of this fight yet. Nice charge here. The Knights Errant, of course, are going to really eat it here on the way back, and then, I mean, whoops, went right into a wall. The Skinks have a nice defensive line set up here, so there's no support for these Knights Errant. They're going to get absolutely flattened. So we're going to see here the Knights Errant looking to get around. Here's another summon. They go for the Skink Priest. That's a good call, but unfortunately the Skink Priest already got both summons off, so unfortunately for Sir Digby, that would have been great to kill this guy beforehand, but it's not like that's easy to do at the current. Just the best, not necessarily easy to do. See, there's still a Bretonnian unit way back here, just a peasant, so probably not going to swing the battle a lot. Same thing here, these peasants having to make their way back over. I'm having a hard time seeing how Bretonnia digs themselves out of this. It's a fun matchup, though. These low funds games are totally different. It's kind of interesting to see how this plays out and, like, kind of what picks you can make at these low of a funds. With Bretonnia, it's challenging. Like, do you spend the money and bring some knights? Do you just absolutely stack yourself with men-at-arms and hope that you can outweigh an opponent, right? And then I would think single entities and monsters become very powerful in these low funds fights because the more potent missiles or other things are just not going to be present in order to help kill those types of things. So like for Bretonnia, for instance, they seem to really be struggling with the Sacred Crocs and KROKATOA. And it shows here because, I mean, those units are going to be very powerful, I think, in this type of funds. Let's see, though. See how it plays out. We got some spearmen up here engaged. They're getting some work done against some of these Skinks. We had a nice charge here. It should end up saving Sir Digby. He's going to be able to route and get back up in the air. At least it sure looks like it. I know he's being poisoned. It depends. He's got to, yeah, he made it. So he'll live. But, I mean, Bretonnia is getting shellacked pretty good here. The damsel has come in to try and assist. And that's really the only thing here that can do anything to bolster any leadership. These spearmen at arms should be able to turn around and fight. That damsel needs to get the heck out of Dodge. But I don't think she can now. She is trapped. And I don't think that these Sacred Croxies intend to be very gentlemanly in this fight. Don't think that's something that's on their agenda here. Alright, Bretonnia's Lord was back in for another little charge. The power actually swung a little bit back for Bretonnia here. It's still way far from balanced. Here comes a nice heal. This is going to be important, so Bretonnia getting some healing. Chance to do some damage to the Sacred Crocs. But another charge from the Lizardmen Cavalry onto Sir Digby. He's going to get some much-needed healing. Extra cavalry being thrown in here. Some Skinks going down. The Spearmen may start to take their toll on some of these lizard units. I still don't know how they deal with KROKATOA himself, but this is actually kind of flattening the fight out a little bit for Bretonnia here. This is an engagement that's not all bad for them. Especially if Digby and the damsel can stay alive. Like, this is not a terrible fight. Those two units can get out of this alive, because now you got rampaging cold ones. They're just going to rampage right into those spearmen who are still in the middle of that fight. Cavalry, oh, Chameleon Skinks, yeah, they're going to have to watch out. Digby's in some pretty serious trouble here. Yeah, I don't see how he lives a whole lot longer. This is a pretty valiant effort there by Bretonnia trying to bring this one back. There goes Digby, he's out. At this point, they don't have a chance, but that was a pretty valiant effort to try and pull this one back. You can see the Lizard Army finally took some pretty significant damage to all their infantry, and even the Sacred Croxies and the cavalry took a pretty good beating there, but I still just don't know that Bretonnia had a good answer. You know, since the Lord had taken so much damage, I don't think they had a good answer to the Kroxigor Ancient. Obviously, it's possible for a Bretonnian Lord on a Hippogriff to do some damage to a Kroxigor Ancient, but these Chameleon Skinks ended up being a very valuable tool here, too, with the poisoning and the ability to counter-skirmish the Yeoman Archers, which otherwise would have been able to spend their ammo a little more efficiently. So, fun match this one. I'm going to fast forward a bit here. Again, I don't know how Bretonnia could possibly dig themselves out. They're not going to. They're going to lose. Interesting, a 5K. Maybe I should do that on one of my streams is find out the rules that they used here where you start with a 5K army and work your way up. That sounds like it'd be kind of fun. Have to check that out. Anyway, hey, really appreciate Shetland Apache sending this one in, and Sir Digby, Pippington, and KROKATOA here for submitting. I had a lot of fun watching this one. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. This was something different. Again, a small funds matchup can be totally different than like a large funds where you have access to different types of troops, and some just become less useful because of their cost and prohibitive. You have to think a little bit about what you're going to be up against. It totally changes things. And so it's kind of an interesting matchup to see. Let's take a look here at Sir Digby. Not able to get all the damage done that he wanted to. I mean, not bad raw damage off these yeoman archers because they're pretty cheap. And I think that these Knights Errants run around 700 gold too, so that's a pretty decent performance. Not bad there. Not good from this one. And mediocre probably here, right? These Spearmen at Arms right here did a good job for their cost. And it's not hard for peasants to be decent for their cost either because they're just so ridiculously cheap. Damsel, let's check out KROKATOA here. Yeah, doing some pretty decent damage. I mean, if you look at his hit points, like the value may not seem good, but look at his hit points, right? he had a lot more to offer, so his value was really only limited by the battle ending. I think at this point, really nice work out of these Cold One riders, both of them. And then the Kroxigor, ancient Kroxigor, is doing some real yeoman's work. But I mean, a lot of peasants, so not surprising to see some pretty high damage dealt numbers on these Skinks. And then very valuable chameleon Skinks at that point as well. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this one. Again, appreciate them. Check out the links in the description if you want to. If Shetland's got a channel or something, I'll go find it and make sure it's linked. But appreciate him posting this one. I think he's a content creator because it's listed that way. I do forget sometimes, and I apologize if I do. And if you ever are a content creator and you submit a replay and you see that I don't have a link or something, like, please tell me. Let me help you out with it. I want you all to get some exposure from this, and appreciate you participating in that community and being a part of the Total War community. So, like I said, I'll go look for it, and if I ever miss that kind of stuff, let me know. I want to help put it on there for you and make sure my viewers know where to find your stuff as well. So thank you, Shetland, and like I said, thanks to both the players. Hope you all are having a great day. HeirofCarthage signing out for now. I will see you all again soon in another Total War Warhammer content or some other content. See you then.